There you've had it. I think that's pretty crisply put and as bluntly put as you can expect from the Foreign Secretary who's been in the middle of all of this. What are the bottom lines? Ladies and gentlemen, bottom line is that the border issue was discussed, and from the tone and tenor that has been set by the Foreign Secretary, it seems to me that it is being communicated publicly that there is political will now to maintain the status quo, to not create more problems on the border. So, an agreement, a technical agreement on how many meters, who withdraws from where, had already been reached. This had been given impetus in the special representatives talks that happened just 2 weeks ago, and they happened coincidentally, but also timed with the fact that this meeting was going to take place between the two heads of government. And it seems that the technical agreement is now being backed by political will on both sides. I think there seems to be an indication. Now, I won't bet my life on it. I don't think India is walking away from their entrenched positions on the LAC, which is well inside what is Indian soil. But the indicative that the technical agreements on the ground have the political will to back them and not to disturb them. So, what does that mean? That means that hopefully in the near term, medium term, despite the fact that nobody is going to let their guard down and our troop presence will remain the same, that we should not expect anything dramatic taking place along the length and breadth of the Indo-Tibet border, the India-China border. Now, that does not mean that the Chinese have backed off from anything, that they've backed off from the claims, or there's been some long standing change of heart or change of stance. It just is limited to the fact that there has been relative peace and stability for a year, and that is likely to remain because we are moving on to next. Number 2, which is the large rubric coming out of this, and there is nothing being minced in the words, the Foreign Secretary has come and said that there is a governance deficit in global institutions. He is named 2 specifically, the WTO and the United Nations, financial architecture and economic architecture. He specifically mentioned trade. He did not mention tariffs, but I think we can easily read between the lines that a large part of the conversation has been that we have a common interest in providing alternative leadership. Let me use that word, and it's mine, not his. Alternative leadership to these mechanisms. There has been no particular talk of replacing those mechanisms with some other alternative, but yes, President Xi Jinping has been invited to the BRICS summit in India next year. I don't know whether exactly it has been said he's coming or not, but full support would seem to indicate that he will be coming to India next year. And of course, we are expecting the Russian president to be here in December. So, the one big takeaway on the border, which is imperative, because the last thing you now need, frankly, both for President Xi and for Prime Minister Modi, is some rogue elements on the border going trigger hungry or sharp stick hungry, which is what happens in these hand to hand combats, and creating a crisis which nobody wants. We've got enough crises to deal with in the world right now. So, the political will to let the stable and currently peaceful status quo to remain, with of course India making sure that we are watching our backs, because there has been no de-escalation in terms of troop withdrawals, which is also something you heard in that press conference. Number 2, the deficit in global governance. You can read between the lines what that means. That's directly on America. Number 3, and the Foreign Secretary has mentioned this, not to say that again you would put money on the Chinese buying into it, but let me use the words he's chosen very carefully. A multipolar world and the "and" is important, a multipolar Asia. Now, there lies the rub of it, because the Chinese are talking about a multipolar world. They're happy to talk about it because a multipolar world means no longer a unipolar world run by the United States of America, but a multipolar Asia is something that they'll find more difficult to chew on. So, if there has been even some sort of quiet nod and hum and ha on this from the Chinese side, that would indicate that for now they want to do business with you. Now, is there been a fundamental Chinese investment announcement to address the trade deficit that India has? The answer is not that we can speak of, but I think a broad consensus has been drawn that we need to do business, and that's the need of the hour, and let's get on with it. And let's not distract ourselves by creating more complicated situations on the border. We will have to leave that to another day. Madhav Nalapat is back with us, Ajay Dua back with us, Ambassador Basiruddin Mukherjee back with us as well. Ambassador Mukherjee, you had a chance now to listen into some of this. I've tried to sum it up in the 3 points. What do you make of what has now taken place?
I heard it very carefully, including the answers to some of the rather tricky questions which Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri handled with considerable expertise. It is very clear from the press conference that there has been a significant shift in the manner in which China and India are going to conduct their bilateral relationship in future. That includes every aspect of the bilateral relationship, especially trade, cross-border terrorism, the border issue, cooperation in multilateral organizations would include, therefore, particularly cooperation in WTO and in the UN. That includes Security Council, of course. But even more important, it also indicates that there is a willingness to go back to how we had conducted the relationship in the past, which was to keep the border issue alive but separate, to be looked at by a separate group. Usually, the discussions would take place twice a year, and we would see how we could take it forward in the easier sectors first and come to the more difficult sectors later, while keeping alive the other aspects of the bilateral relationship, including people-to-people contacts. In the people-to-people contacts, Foreign Secretary did not give a direct response to the keenly awaited announcement on resumption of direct flights, which is wanted by both the Indian diaspora in China, by Indian business and Chinese business, etc. I suspect there will be some kind of an announcement in the weeks to follow on that. I would imagine that that Xi Jinping will come for the summit here, for the BRICS summit, and when he says full cooperation, the Chinese never use such words lightly. Their language too is very, very nuanced. He spoke in Chinese, as I believe he did, and he said that it's full cooperation. It means that they will fully cooperate and support us in our presidency of BRICS. BRICS is an organization to which Trump is completely allergic to. He can't stand the word. He thinks BRICS means the downfall of the US dollar, and that's it. And he, just as he said that the Ukraine war is Modi's war, he has also accused India of being in BRICS, which he says is a fundamentally anti-American organization, even though it has given no such indication, including at its latest meeting. Okay. So I think the BRICS summit is going to be very, very, very important. And I think it actually implies that India has strategically rebalanced itself. Next move is up to Trump. Is he going to give in for the tariffs or not?
Okay, next move. Next move is Donald Trump, and all the trend that we've seen in the past few weeks would be he's going to double down. Who knows? It might be 100% tomorrow morning. So who knows? Let me go across to my colleague Megha, who's there in Tianjin.